What's up, guys? So we're going to go over the lifting mechanism for my skeleton for Halloween this year. I did another video. I had to do some adjustments. Kind of look at everything here real quick. So I found out really quickly the aluminum bar did not work out so well. The cylinder was so strong it bent the aluminum bar. So that didn't work out so well. So switched it over to steel. You can still see one of my aluminum bars here. That's steel, and then aluminum. That's the old one. I left it there. It's fine. It's working. All it does is just hold that hinge in there. So I went with PVC because it was a little bit lighter than doing a solid steel frame. And then also the way I designed it, the skeleton will get attached to the PVC frame. So if I need to take the skeleton out of the coffin really quickly, all I have to do is take these two bolts, well, 4, I double nutted them, take these 2 bolts off, and then the entire skeleton with the PVC assembly will come off pretty quickly. So it's an easy fix if I need to repair something or change something mid-drift or test and tune night. So, but basically it's a little sticky. I just painted this thing so she hasn't dried yet. As you can see, what I did, I put a rope on it just to kind of silence the upward movement. So when the cylinder bottoms out, the rope actually grabs a hold of it right before the cylinder bottoms out. So what I was getting a lot of clacking when the assembly reached the full upright position, and it was kind of it wasn't really annoying, but it's not what I wanted. I didn't want a loud clacking sound. I wanted more of the skeleton coming out of the coffin to be the surprise, not the banging noise. So I put that rope on there to kind of silence the clanging noise that you got when the cylinder bottomed out. So essentially, when you look at it, when this assembly comes up, pivots, and then you can see that rope get taut maybe 1/8 of an inch before the cylinder bottoms out, so that puts tension on that rope right before it hits the most outward position. So worked out pretty well. I've got pretty much everything ready to go. The white foam you're seeing, that's just a false bottom for the coffin. It's all going to be lined with burlap, and then I've got to line the sides with foam and burlap to make it actually look like a coffin. That's the speaker that's going to produce my sound effects. It's also going to produce a scream sound or yelling noise, whatever I end up doing when the skeleton actually comes out of the coffin. It'll actually do a background noise too, just an ambient noise or sounds, whatever I want to do with it. So, but so far so good. For all you guys out there who are trying to do this, the way I ended up doing this, so this bar right here, I actually ended up extending it farther up. The cylinder was not sitting at an upward angle enough to really lift this thing up easily. When I first built it, this bar right here was about half this size, and what was happening was the cylinder was putting pressure on it, and it would put pressure on it for about 2 seconds before it actually was able to lift this mechanism up. So we, after I changed this to steel bar, I made this piece longer. So now, maybe within a split second of that cylinder putting pressure on this bar, it actually wants to lift it up instead of just putting outward pressure on this whole assembly, which is why I was getting a bent bar down here. So now the hinge points, there's 3 separate hinges, obviously one for each PVC pipe, one for the lifting mechanism. Worked out fine, didn't have any issues. I did make sure that I put plenty of grease and lubricant on all the moving parts, so all the hinges, you can see on the the hinge here at the end of the cylinder, it's lubed up. And then also at the other end of the cylinder, that's actually a pivot point too. So I put grease on that. Keep everything moving smoothly, no corrosion issues, anything of that nature, because the one thing I am doing with this coffin is I am going to pump fog into this coffin, and anybody that's used a fog machine in an enclosed area such as this, or a smaller box, anything like that, it does produce condensation. So I am going to get some water vapor in here from the fog machine, so I want to make sure everything's working right. I don't have any issues in the middle of trick-or-treating, so I think we're good to go. Everything works just right. I'll do another video of the air actually lifting this thing up and then bringing it back down. And then, like I said before in the previous video, instead of using the storm or screen door closers, the cylinder for me works better with the double acting cylinder. So I've got air pressure in and out, so I can control with adjustable valves how quickly it comes out and how quickly it goes in. So the skeleton, which is her name's Betty, she'll actually come out rather quickly, but when she goes down, it's actually going to close rather slowly. So it's not a very hard bang and a slam when she closes. She just kind of slowly creeps back into the coffin, and then the lid closes. So excuse me, I did actually add the angle fittings on both cylinders. That way I could route the air hoses out of the way. There's nothing binding up. So this one here is already ready to go. It's not connected yet. I had to prop the lid open so I could show you the lifting mechanism here and what was going on. But so far so good. The lifting mechanism is done. It works fine. I've ran it, probably a few 100,000 times. No issues. I've had the skeleton on it. No issues. There will be a huge difference between just lifting this PVC assembly up and actually attaching a skeleton to it. There's a huge weight difference. Even though a plastic skeleton doesn't really weigh a whole lot, the leverage on it was quite a bit. So had to make sure it worked with the skeleton on it. So you can get this thing working all you want, but once you put the weight of the skeleton on it, it's going to change things. So I did get my second peekaboo in tonight. Frightprops.com, props out to you. Make an excellent product. Exactly what I need to do. I use the AC peekaboos. All of my air solenoids are AC ran. They're not 12 volts. You can get this in a 12 volt model. I just, for some reason, oddly prefer an AC connection because I do actually connect a LED light to the animation. So let's say the skeleton comes out of the coffin, as soon as she stands up, I want her lit up, so it actually adds to the scare. Not only do you see the motion of the skeleton, but you see her light up with the light. So using the AC peekaboos actually helps with that. So I can daisy chain not only the solenoid, but also the LED light into the same plug, and everything works beautifully. So, but I love these things. These things will program a animation. Basically, I think it's a 2-minute, maybe. I think it is a 2-minute animation with 2 different plugs. So what this does is one plug will run the the cylinder for the lid, and then the second plug runs the cylinder for the skeleton. And then, like I said, I tie in lights into each of those so I can get the effect that I want. And then it also does background music, so when this thing is not actually playing the animation that I record, it'll actually play a background noise of whatever I want to record. So works pretty well. I did it last year on the other coffin I built, which I'll have out as well. So I love those peekaboos. Fright Props did a heck of a job on those things. I love them. But if you have any questions, leave some comments. Let me know. I've seen a lot of guys in here try to do this stuff. I think I'd like to think that I kind of went above and beyond on this one. So, but we'll see how it turns out. I'll do another video here, like I said, with the air on everything, lid opening, closing, and the skeleton coming out, so I can show you guys actually how this thing moves when it's got air pressure to it. So happy Halloween.